You're welcome to the Naija Filmmaker, a podcast about Nigerian filmmakers, their films, and how we can build a diverse and functional industry. I'm your host, Selegot. On this episode, my guest is Victor Okhai. He's a director, writer, and cinematographer. He's a member of the Nigerian Oscar Selection Committee and the president of the Directors Guild of Nigeria. We talk about his work at the Guild, starting a film festival and a film school, and common challenges faced by films trying to be selected for the Oscars. If you're a new listener, you're welcome and I hope you enjoy. Hi, Mr. Victor. You're welcome to the Naija Filmmaker.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, please can you introduce yourself?
My name is Victor Okhai. I'm the National President of the Directors Guild of Nigeria. I'm a producer, a director, a cinematographer, and a writer as well.
Okay, nice to meet you, sir.
Pleasure.
Yeah, can you tell us how you got started in filmmaking?
Yeah, so like I said, I grew up in Jos, and I didn't know them, but I always imagined myself in a Western, I imagine myself filming. There's a place called Gadabu. To the left of it, you have these hills, and that really looked like it. And it was when I got to Hollywood, and in fact, Beverly Hills in Los Angeles, the area there, that I saw things that, the topography and everything looks like what I saw growing up in Jos. The weather was the same, everything was the same. So that had an early influence on me in my childhood. And then I grew up in a city also where the first color television in Nigeria started transmitting. This was BPTV Jos, as it was called, the Baby Plateau Television, under a very, very astute film and broadcast administrator called Girgis Salama. Now, Girgis Salama is an Egyptian, and he brought that innovation. So the first color TV in Africa actually started in Jos, and it was the innovation of Dr. Girgis Salama. And then there in Jos as well, there were a lot of innovations in terms of television, broadcasting, and programming. So I practically grew up in a place where, even as a child, I was involved in television programs, radio programs. As a matter of fact, I was called, I don't want to say it now, but basically, I had a very good influence growing up.
Yeah.
And then the next phase was when it was time to go to university, and my father wanted me to read law.
Yeah.
This was his dream. This was all he ever wanted me to do. And so we had a bit of an argument there. I did the bit I could to satisfy that to a limited level. And then eventually was, how do I put it now? I also did mass communication at UNN, but I also went to UCLA to read film. Yeah, University of California. So I did at the Westwood campus. I studied film there. Then apart from that, I had done several other, before that, I had done several other film courses at NAFTA in Ghana. The CFAP, this was as a French film school. And I'd done lots of courses. So in a way, I was prepared. When I got to Lagos, I was ready, but it was an industry that, I was coming in like an outsider. And so this was in the mid 80s. So acceptance was a bit tough. Now, so what I did at the time was I started writing. And I had excellent writing skills, so it wasn't difficult for me. I started writing for new village headmaster. I was also the only writer from Lagos for the new Masquerade at the time. And then I also started writing for, what do you call it now, Second Chance. As a matter of fact, I also acted in Second Chance and Village Headmaster, but I had a regular role in Second Chance. The script that introduced me, I actually wrote it. And so I got an acting role.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and I did very well. So my role was made permanent till the end of the series. Even though I came in towards the end, I think the last quarter was when I came in, playing the role of, it was then Naija Fisherman, James Johnson, Fine Face. So what this did for me, there were a couple of things that happened at the time. I was quite strategic. I remember I told you I got in through writing, which is something a lot of people don't like doing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so writing got me noticed. I started writing for some of the Y series then too. I don't want to mention, but some of the most famous, perhaps even the most famous, I don't go into details now, of the jingles then for Y. I actually wrote them. The thing is, I didn't care about credits. I just wanted to break in, So I did them. And then, in fact, those were things I introduced. Everyone would say, have you seen this new guy? Very hot. He's a great writer and all that. So it was so easy for me. Everybody wanted me on the writing team. You understand? And like I said, for New Masquerade, I was the only one from Lagos writing. I would go to the camp at Transekulu in Enugu at the time. That's where I met. I met him first in Lagos, of course. Chris Obirapu, he invited me. He was one that wrote Living in Bondage, At the time, people like KOK, what's his name? Or Sophia, what's his name again? Nkemo and the rest. These were people who were just coming around trying to get beat rules and all that. A lot of them, before they eventually came to Lagos and then blew. I remember Tony Aposhere then was a production manager. As an actor now, he used to work with the NTA. He was a production manager on the set of the New Masquerade at the time, working with NTA. So this kind of opened the door for me, but I had bigger pictures. I had a bigger dream. So what I did was, acting for me opened the door to my personal business. I opened my film business as far back as then. So what acting did for me was, wherever I went to, I was easily recognizable. And so I could go into companies, get commercials. So I got into commercials, started doing commercials, both for the agencies, Grant Advertising and Lentas and the rest of them at the time. So I was big on commercials, made quite a lot of money. I was the first Nigerian to do a commercial for 7-Up at the time. You remember, all the commercials were coming in from abroad, even promos. So I started doing for them, Rank Zero, so many companies, So I went into commercials big time and was doing corporate documentaries as well. And then post-production mostly was done in London. Go abroad to do it. And then Steve Ojowo's Galaxy had one of the best post-production outfits of Cinecraft as well. And then high-end stuff. Steve Ojo, when he brought in some equipment that he had at the time, we didn't even need to start traveling abroad anymore because we could achieve some of the things that we would go to do in some of the post houses in the UK. So TK, all of them, all of us were in the commercial gig at the time. So I was, like I said, I was big on commercials, and I have to confess, I made quite a tidy sum from it. I also started a sound studio at Fleglin then, but it became a hub at the time. It was one of the earliest digital sound studios. The others were was Dr. Baya Adepetu, his own, what's his name now? MIDI Tone. Okay. Tunde Ajije didn't just started, and there's something Tunde doesn't know. he actually made me start my own digital studio. Because like he would always tell everyone, I was the first person that was the one that gave me his very first job, his very first jingle that launched his business. But afterwards, I remember one day I wanted to do a job, and he gave me a hard time, and I said to myself, what the hell? And that was what got me started, and that's how I started my own studio.
Yeah.
Kingsley Oguru worked with him later, and then later started Clean Studios. Mine was Class Digital Studios at Ojo Elegba. There was Argos, then in Apapa. There was JAPEX in Antony Village. Which other one again? Well, these are the ones I remember now. I hope I can be forgiven for forgetting any other one. I'm talking about the MIDI studios, the digital studios at the time.
Yeah.
So with that, I was doing a lot of jingles as well, to back up my commercials. I had a very big client at the time who was doing national campaigns. Rainbow was hair cosmetics. So it was easy for me to do the jingles in my studio and just do the commercials.
Yeah.
The TVCs at the time. So the business complemented each other. And I was also running an advertising agency alongside with it. So, like I said, I was big on commercials at the time. And then Nollywood started in our presence. And when Nollywood started, a few of us who consider ourselves film purists at the time felt it was infra-dig. We would either shoot on film or nothing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Although we're doing other things on video, Betacam and the rest, when we're shooting commercials. But for film, we just looked at it and said, okay. So, but we were right there in the thick of it. And so, I remember this was the time when soaps were heavy, people like Zeb, Charles Oyemi then, who was partnering with Ralph Adike on Palace, on AIT, and the rest of them when they were doing what they were doing. So then living in bondage started, and then the movie industry started, and then eventually it became inevitable that we had to go in, and we didn't have a choice. Yes, and then coincidentally, when we looked at the way things were going, a few of us, then we called ourselves the Five Angry Young Men, started the Directors Guild of Nigeria because we wanted, in spite of what we thought was chaos, you might call whether organized chaos or unorganized, but the chaotic situation that we just felt, look, there must be some order in this business, especially in the directors. So we started the Directors Guild of Nigeria, and I was then the first national secretary of the guild. This was about 22, 23 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's coincidental that about 2 decades down the line, I would become the national president of the guild again. So I don't know. It's a long story, but it's in a way sort of how I got into the industry. But a lot of the work I have done have not even been local because of my skill set. So I do a lot of foreign jobs and do a lot of jobs for foreign companies in Nigeria as well.
Yeah.
I've worked with all the major networks, CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, Deutsche Welle. I've shot several series for them, several programs that I have shot, produced, and directed. So I've done quite a lot for international media, kept myself busy over the years, and so here we are.
Yeah. Okay, so would you consider yourself more of a documentary filmmaker or a fiction filmmaker?
Not necessarily. I do feature very well. In fact, what I'm doing for 2022 may just change. Let me not brag ahead. I will just say, let's wait and see. Okay? Yeah. I do all of them. But you might say, documentary may have brought me more success and maybe more money. One we shot 2015 or 2017? I'm trying to remember. 2017, I think. Waiting for Hasana.
Yeah.
It was that job got us into Sundance. It premiered at Sundance.
Yeah.
And you know how difficult it is to get into Sundance.
Yeah.
To be selected out of over how many thousands, over 10,000 or so, it's a big deal, So we got into Sundance, went to South by Southwest, went to Sheffield Docks, went to Toronto, went to Berlin, went to so many. I've lost count, but the eyes of it was when we won at River Run. River Run is an Oscar qualifying film festival. So winning there qualifies you for the Oscars.
Yeah.
But I learned a big lesson from it. When we did that documentary, we didn't know how far it would take us.
Yeah.
And so we ran out of budget when we got qualified, because a friend of mine then, she was the founder of, I think, Without a Box, which was later bought over by IMDb and then subsequently Amazon.
Yeah.
Her name is Sydney Levine. She saw a copy of the movie, and I was quite impressed and said, Victor, you need an Oscar strategist. Before then, I didn't know about it. And so she introduced me to the very best in the field and said, we should work together. But you know what? We had run out of money. So we couldn't, we couldn't follow up on it. And we did all the submissions, all the number of DVDs we're supposed to submit, did everything that we did. But if you don't have someone pushing it, doing the necessary lobby, then you might not get that final nomination that would, so. But it was a good lesson. Today I'm on the Nigerian Oscar Selection Committee in Nigeria. I know a lot better. I've since grown from then. Yeah. So, but it was a good experience. So that brought us some, not money, but it brought us some form of acclaim. So, but feature, the problem I've had with features, I've done quite a few, but none of mine personally before this one now that I'm about to do, and this one I'm taking my time to do it properly. So the others have just been things I've directed for others as well, or just co-produced. Now, for me, the problem has always been, and that's what I'm going to advise a lot of people right now, there's what is called analysis paralysis. Sometimes if you're a perfectionist, you overanalyze things, you end up not doing anything. You understand? The real thing that causes procrastination is sometimes the so-called spirit of perfection, which is a negative spirit. Nothing is ever perfect. I would say to people like Nike, just do it. You know what I mean? Doing it is better than imagining a perfect thing and not doing it. I say imagining because until you do it, you've not done it. You know what I mean? So that's a big lesson for me. I've been a big procrastinator. It's cost me millions, if not billions, if I may use that language. Honestly, it's cost me quite a lot. I'm learning now in old age, but it's never too late. When you wake up, as we say, then is your morning. Whenever you wake up, that's your morning. So that's it.
Okay, so let's talk about
I thought the interview was over.
Nah. Well, I wanted to talk about like Waiting for Hassan. How did the project start? Like, how were you guys able to raise the funding that took you all the way to, Sundance and South by Southwest and the others?
Okay, so we're three majorly on the project. Fuda Maduka, she worked with Netflix at the time. She was working with Netflix at the time. Uzo Ewela, who is Okonjo Iweala's son. He's also the writer of Beasts of No Nation. You know, the Netflix mega hit. You know the movie?
Yeah.
Okay. And then there's myself. So we three of us were producers, but then divided roles among ourselves. Funa needed, her directorial debut, so she took credit as director. I was cinematographer. Now that's the side of me a lot of people in Hollywood don't even know about.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, but three of us were producers on the project as well. And then we had funding from Tisch, the Tisch family. New York University has one of the best film departments in the world, the Tisch Film School.
Yeah.
So with that family, we had from a few other people. Namdi, I'm trying to remember, he's an American. He's married to an actress, a famous American actress, black actress. I'm trying to remember the names. Now, excuse me, I'm not very good with names. That's not a good thing to say, but unfortunately, it is what it is. So we had a few people who believed in what we were doing and put some money behind it. And so, remember, even beyond production, just going for festivals alone, because for some big festivals, you pay fees.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you may pay, you can pay all you want, and you may not be selected, but you have to pay an entry fee to get in. So to do that is quite a lot of money. You have to have a special budget for that as well. So we needed all that, but somehow we're able to raise the funds for it. It was tough because even the original story slant, the original story we had, with a documentary, you don't have a set script. You can only have a concept note about how the direction you want it to go. But documentaries would usually have a life of their own.
Yeah.
And it was not different from this. Even getting the title, how it came about, there's a lot. It didn't quite work out the way we wanted. So you can say we could have had 3 documentaries before we had the final documentary.
Yeah.
We had a direction at first. It didn't work out that we tried another one. It didn't work out until finally we struck an aha moment and then came up with, what became the final film.
Okay. Where can people watch Waiting for Hasana? And why documentaries sometimes hard to, like distribution is hard for them?
Maybe in this part, but not necessarily outside. Documentaries, if you understand how to, not that difficult. In fact, academic distribution is easiest for documentary filmmakers because these are fact films.
Yeah.
And they're dealing with issues that range from whether anthropological, social, cultural, whatever. And there's somebody somewhere wants to learn or pick up something about this thing. So, in Nigeria, it's difficult. No one touches them. The TV station certainly won't buy them from you. They won't even do a barter with you on it. So it's tough, yeah.
Where can we find
I'm afraid it's not in the public domain. It's not in a place where you can easily find it. It's a short, so it's not something you just want to put out there and everybody just comes, except with a private link.
Yeah.
So that's the only way we share it. We don't put it out there. It's not there. Eventually, we might end up putting it somewhere where everyone can access it, but not at the moment.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you have been to several film schools, done several courses, and then you started the International Film and Broadcast Academy.
Yes.
What was your goal when you started the academy?
Okay. When the broadcast industry was being deregulated, and Nollywood was just coming up at the time, I saw a big gap. What was the gap? Of course, there was a lot of pushing from NTA. Yeah, the licenses were coming out, and a lot of people from NTA were also leaving to go into make movies.
Yeah.
With the broadcast stations, there were not enough trained manpower. Many of them were just recruiting people who were not properly trained.
Yeah.
So I knew there was going to be a huge skills gap. So we saw the gap and then positioned ourselves strategically and started with the best faculty available. We had Olu Jacobs then for acting, supported by his wife, Sylvia, and they were living close to where the school was located at the time. Then we had Jimmy Odumosu teaching directing. Paul Emema was teaching producing, the late Paul Emema. Lola Fankayode, screenwriting.
Yeah.
And then we had Americans on board. Ernest Dunkley was teaching cinematography, and Lloyd Weaver was teaching editing. At the time, I was how do I put it now? I could free will through any of the classes because I could handle any of the classes as well.
Yeah.
But also was handling the administration. So that's how we started at the time. And very high standards. And we did training for quite a lot of institutions and individuals. And we had very good success. So that's how we started, set a good standard. And like I said, we had very good success, even with our students. In one particular year, when Mnet then started the new direction series, it was a series of shorts. People will compete as director and as writer.
Yeah.
Then they'll pick the best pitches, and then they would then proceed to produce a film on 16mm. I remember a particular year, the best pitch for the pitches that were selected for writer and director were students of my film school. Oliver Aleogena for directing and Kemi Adesoye for screenwriting.
Yeah.
Kemi later went on to become the head writer for Doctor's Quarters, Teen Cell, Battleground, and quite a number of series, on Mnet, on DSC, on Mnet. So our students have done very well. In a particular year, one of our students, his a student film. We put it into a student film festival in Germany, the biggest student film festival in Europe. It's called Seesuchte. It's usually hosted by, what do you call it now? I'm trying to remember a film school is in Potsdam, near Berlin. I'm trying to remember the name of a film school now, but it's the biggest film and television school there, around that area, in that region. And it's also, that festival is usually the biggest film festival in Europe. Surprisingly, we were invited, we went and we won.
Yeah.
The name of the movie is Chill Pill.
Okay.
So our students have done very well, very well. But anyway, I can come to that later. But so, so we've been training over the years. We've been training from people from different, we've done training for channels, television, TVC. We just rounded off a program with TVC recently. We've been training around the country. The film school has been doing very well. We don't advertise, we don't make much noise, but we're known for our quality, and it's not a mass school where we're not looking for the numbers. So we just want to do quality training. We don't want to lose the essence and the quality of the training by taking on too many people at the same time.
Yeah.
So so that's it. So we've been on, and consistently is the oldest private film school in Nigeria today.
Yeah.
And has been on consistently over the years. We've done quite a lot of work with partnered with quite a lot of institutions, both in Nigeria and abroad. We Deutsche Welle Academy is one of our training partners. We've run training programs even for the industry. I remember, particularly year, we did a year-long program for filmmakers. Part of it was online, the rest was physical. and then they got their certificates from Deutsche Welle.
Okay.
So the things we've done quite a lot, partnered with many institutions, and yeah.
Okay, so there's this trend that students that leave film school, they're not so prepared for the industry, and then there's this other school of thought that actually making films is the best way to go about it. For you, like, how do you balance both going to film school and also?
Well, not for IFBA, because International Film Broadcasting Academy is completely different. Fortunately, I know this thing, so the thing is, you cannot even graduate without a student film project. There's a group project, there's a private project. The group to build team, because filmmaking is about teamwork.
Yeah.
Okay. And the reason we insist you must make your short film before you graduate is because for us, beyond certificate, that is our certificate that you can do what we say you can do.
Yeah.
It proves to you, to us, that you can do what we say and what your certificate says you can do. Okay. Yeah. Secondly, we recognize that when people say, what have you done before? You need to have something to show. So we prepare our students. They're prepared before they ever leave, which is why they do very well. But I also agree with you that you're not a filmmaker until you make films. It's not about theorizing. You have to go out there and make it. It doesn't matter what you use. It's important to make films. I told you about my weakness, which is this perfection thing, but I've learned. Okay?
Yeah.
I've learned. The thing is, it's good to be perfect, but if you have a certain level of training, then you're incapable of doing a bad job. No matter what you do, it can be terrible.
Yeah.
So if you have that assurance, and that's what I tell young filmmakers today, just go out there and do it. Do something. Forget about. Your first film isn't going to be your best film. Well, there are one or two exceptions. One or two. There's a guy, I can't remember his name now, whose first film won an Oscar, and that was probably the only. I don't know if that was the only film he ever made. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not everyone gets that lucky, but so you have to grow into it. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Yeah. Some good, some bad, but just keep working.
Okay. So you were one of the founders of the Directors Guild of Nigeria, and 2 decades later, you're the president. What are some of the activities you guys are doing as a guild to improve the industry, improve?
Well, capacity building is key and central for us. Even going into the new year, we have lined up certain activities, and we're trying to partner with institutions locally and resource persons locally and internationally to see what we can do as well. So that's key for us. Not only that, in March we have an academic conference that's coming up. We have people from town and gown meeting.
Yeah.
Igbenedion University is hosting it, and also facilitating the gala night for the event as well. And they're giving us accommodation for a certain number of people as well. So you can see we're getting strategic partnerships already for it. We want to be able to tell the Nollywood story. We cannot be alive and Mongo Park is discovering River Niger.
Yeah.
when we are living by the River Niger. So we have our own academics and practitioners who were here when Nollywood started, who are still alive, who can tell the authentic story, not the Jonathan Haynes of this world. I'm not saying they have not tried, they've done well. We thank them for starting scholarship on Nollywood, but I think DGN is taking the lead here on.
Yeah.
Also to help our academics also have a platform to be able to conduct research into Nollywood. And we're going to have a publication as well, a journal, a professional journal that will come out of the whole exercise. So we're also doing everything we can to improve the dignity of the director in this country, which has been battered before now.
Yeah.
The director does not really have, only a few, but most don't really have that respect on sets anymore. But all that is changing since we came on board, and a lot has happened really in the short time. We'll continue to do what we can. We have strategic partnerships already with DSTV in particular, Mnet, the go-to guild for them is the Directors Guild of Nigeria.
Yeah.
We're working on quite a lot of projects, and they're going to be helping us also with our capacity building, for our members. Rock TV, also the same thing. We have a good relationship with Netflix as well. And hopefully, as others come on, we'll engage as well.
Okay. So apart from the capacity building, what other perks do members get, and how can people join?
Joining is easy. Our website has not been updated yet. My fault. I take blame for it. Still in this spirit of perfection, which doesn't do you any good. I should have just gone ahead to say, okay, let's make the changes to this, but that's part of what we're doing at the beginning of the new year. We want to make sure the process is done in a way that, can just get to the website, see what is required, and then do it. But for now, when members join, normally the process is you get the application form, there's a screening process, and then induction, So for now, we just want to encourage as many people as possible are practicing to come on board. What my philosophy is, if you're not quite there yet, we will ensure that you get there through trainings and mentoring.
Yeah.
And then, so, and that's what we've been doing in the meantime. The bar has been raised, and we're doing our best to make sure that those that are our members are performing exceedingly well. We're constantly doing everything we can to expose them to best practices.
Yeah.
And basically that's what's happening. Then the welfare of our members is also very, very important. That's something we're taking seriously as well. Welfare in all aspects, and also in terms of remuneration, trying to get them better working conditions,
Yeah. Okay. So you're also a member of the Nigerian Oscar Selection Committee. What have you found out that is one of the biggest challenges for Nigerian films that seek to, be selected as the Nigerian?
People are not following rules. Simple. Read the rules. We've tried our best to try and enlighten people, but sometimes we think that we will bend the rules. Unfortunately, we are not going to bend the rules because the Oscars will not bend the rules for us. We can only qualify for the language category.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what the international category is about. It has to be a language film, and it must be principally the dialogue must be at least 50% language.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you do 49%, because this is our time, they will stop watch. If you do 49%, 48%, it won't go.
Yeah.
Then you have to have at the length of film, do something at least 50 or 60 minutes, I can't quite remember now. It must be at least that long to qualify. Then there are tech specs. Many are failing or falling in that area. The technical specifications, both for the shoot and the sound, edit, and all that. So all of that has to be met. And they're all on the website. People who don't bother to look at it. If you do a film and you have any Oscar ambition, I think it's important to go there and read the rules. And once you read the rules, then you shoot intentionally.
Yeah.
And then by the time you come, you have little problem.
Okay.
But of course, in addition, your film has to be the best among those that are sent in. And if we don't think any film is good enough, like this year, then we don't send anything.
Okay. And I guess it's also important, like for films that want to go to the Oscars, to also have in mind that I guess a lot of money is needed to push it to the voting.
Very, 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 very important. Milkmaid was an excellent film, but like what happened to us with Waiting for Asana, they were not prepared. They didn't have the money to push it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unfortunately.
Okay. So as a director, in your early days, you acted. How did this acting role inform your directing moving forward?
Well, basically, you cannot get the best performance from an actor without understanding elements of acting,
Yeah.
and the interplay of the characters with each other, and in the interpretation. There's what's called the director's note. That's your interpretation, or how you have the actor get into character to fit in the role that you have that you want him to play. So if you don't have an understanding, it becomes difficult. You can't then know how to get the best performance. A director, I'm not going to call him an acting coach, not necessarily, but it is important that he's able to motivate the actor sufficiently to give him the kind of performance that would help bring alive the script on the screen for him.
Yeah. Okay. And there are some times where, based on the way things have been happening in the industry, that some actors, they are on multiple projects at the same time, and they're in this mindset that one take is good enough. How would you advise a production producer or director in making it work with these kind of actors?
Well, first of all, those actors, you ask me, they're not professional. They're not professional actors. They're just interlopers and people who are just taking advantage of the industry to make some quick money. It's wrong. You should help the director to get the best. These guys would lie. I was on the set with one like that, so-called big name. I was badly disappointed. She was on another set. We had already hired the whole stadium.
Yeah.
Yabatek. The stadium to shoot one scene. She kept saying, I'll come till it was night. What are you coming to do in the evening after 6 o'clock? What do you expect me to shoot? I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
They're very selfish. They're terrible. In fact, I don't want to talk. I'm getting emotionally worked up right now when I remember particularly that particular incident. They will lie to you. Oh, they're on their way. They're on several sets at the same time. I would blame the Actors Guild for not instilling the right discipline in their members. I'm sorry to say this, because you should be able to get your members, or those who claim to be your members, to know how to do the right thing. It's not right. You don't mess up a production by such acts of indiscipline.
Yeah.
Yes, there may be individuals on there. You say, okay, they are actors in their own right, but no, you don't do that. If people like that are sanctioned, they'll behave better. Maybe we're not reporting them, that's why, or when we report, the guilds are not taking them. They're not, applying appropriate sanctions.
Yeah.
So, but I think we'll all get around it, but it's prevalent and it's terrible. For me, I would never touch an actor like that in my life again, ever.
Yeah.
And anyone I know with such a reputation, I wouldn't deal with them. Doesn't matter how good they are.
Okay, so can you mention 3 random facts about it that most people don't know?
I love cooking.
Okay. What's your favorite cooking meal?
It's like you have several children. I don't want to mention any. So I'll pass. I'll let that pass.
Okay.
But I love cooking. I love cooking. Second one is I'm a fantastic negotiator. If I was given Boko Haram, that problem would have been over a long time ago.
Yeah.
I'm an excellent negotiator. I'm not being modest about that.
Okay.
And then what would be the third one? So many things are coming up again. Let me speak along professional lines. I don't want to go into, I don't know. But there's so many things that are coming up now. You just asked for 3, so many just came up. But you know what? I'm in my elements when I'm behind the camera.
Yeah. No, as a director or cinematographer?
I like to do my cinematography.
Okay.
Even as a director, I'd like to do my own cinematography. Boy, I love it. I enjoy it. I do things with the camera that people cannot imagine. And I'm a very good still photographer as well.
Yeah.
Very, very good. If I say so myself. But these are skills I don't use locally here, but they can't pay. So I just use them for my own jobs. people can't pay.
Yeah.
So I get paid by people who appreciate my work from outside the country, So I love cooking. I enjoy negotiation. And I love it when I'm behind the camera. Okay. But I'm also passionate about my family. Yeah. So,
okay. Yeah. So as a skilled negotiator that you are, what's the number one rule that you shouldn't forget going into negotiations?
The number one rule you shouldn't forget going to negotiation?
Yeah.
If you make the first bid, you lose. If you name the price, if it's for price, if you mention if you make the first bid, you lose. I'll give you a small example. There's some that may not agree. But if you and I were to, you can, whether as a buyer or as a seller,
yeah.
If you enter into a negotiation, if you're a seller and I'm a buyer,
yeah.
The minute you mention your price, you can't get that price again.
Yeah.
You know that?
Yeah.
It can only get less, not more. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. And if you're a buyer,
yeah.
Just generally, if you are the first to mention an amount, just know you have lost. You can't get that price, you will lose. But it's also important when you go into negotiation, not to have any how do I put it? If you think win-win, you will make better progress as you have better success as a negotiator. If you think win-win, never go into being so fastidious about, okay, this is what it's going to be and nothing else. No, it's important that there's certain things you must be ready to trade in and be prepared to know what you are ready to trade in from the beginning. Okay?
Yeah.
You only ask for one, but also let me say this, it's also important. Never go into any negotiation as the last, as, how do I put it now? With the impression that the box stops on your table.
Yeah.
If it stops on your table, then you're going to lose heavily. Always make room to say that you're going back to a higher authority. Otherwise, let others do the negotiation first before it ever gets to your table.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah. So just kind of protract the negotiation phase as much as you can.
Well, not phase, but there must be rules. Okay, this is it. This is your limit. And let them start. But they must give the impression that it will end with them. And then when those guys have given the final one, you say, no, sorry, I still have to speak to my boss. At that point, you're by the time you take it to that next level, you're going to get even more in the bargain. Because they would have thought everything ended with you at that level. And then they put their best cards out there, only to discover that they have to deal with another level altogether.
Okay. And what's that one piece of content, whether film, TV series, documentary, that you absolutely love to rewatch, like you always go back to it?
Those will be on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel, productivity, something with Victor Okhai.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to remember it now.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube. But
I'll look for it and link it.
Yeah. And there's so many. I'm trying to see if I can reference it now. I don't know. But every time I go there, I pick up, because they're motivational. There's quite a lot of nugget in there. So many. Even when I go back there, there's one in particular I did for on suicide, and it saved quite a lot of lives. Stop, don't commit suicide, I think. Then there's one on oh God, there's so many on that channel.
Yeah.
So If you get in there, you're able to. I think productivity channel with Victor Okhai or something like that. I think. Okay. So if you get to that channel, I mean, for me, I never get tired. I go there every time. It's like I'm learning something new, even though I'm the one that is speaking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the YouTube channel is actually Productivity Channel by Victor Okhai.
Okay, Productivity Channel.
Or if you say by or with Victor Okhai, both will take you there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So Nollywood has been growing, and we want the industry to keep growing and get better. For you, what's that one thing that we should focus on as an industry in order for this growth to be permanent and even better?
For the industry to grow, we need to build more capacity, but we also need integrity.
Yeah.
Integrity is very important. It can destroy everything we build, and it is largely lacking in the industry. We have seen actors who go out there and collect money from people because they are seen on screen. They're not producers, they're not directors. Because they're the ones the faces that people see and know. They go out there and then they act like they are filmmakers or producers or directors, collect money from people, and they either produce rubbish or do nothing. I think it's important that we understand that integrity is everything in all that we do.
Yeah.
If that is something that we're holding strongly onto in DG, and I can tell you as a guild, we're being noted for that now. Once you have integrity, everything else will fall in place. Everything else. Yeah. Well, did we talk about In Short, the film festival?
Okay, In Short. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about that.
We didn't. Now, I told you about Chill Pill, the film that won at Zezushte.
Yeah.
That's the film festival abroad. What happened was that film taught us a lesson. We were looking for an outlet for our student films. So what that taught me was that there were so many people out there with short films who are seeking an outlet. And when you go to a short film, to a regular film festival, you get lost. Yeah. There's only one prize for the short film. And the short film filmmakers are not reckoned with. And for me, most of our best filmmakers, undiscovered, are in the short film category.
Yeah.
Many are doing musical videos right now, doing commercials. They're not yet doing the features, but believe me, they're very good. And many of them have short films. So we just felt we should have an outlet for this short film. So we started In Short in the year 2011. We were supported then by our partners, Goethe Institute, particularly the very first edition. And over the years, we've been supported by Access Bank continually, in the bid. And so so when you come in there, you find that first we had good atmosphere. We've always done it at Sheraton 4 Point in what do you call it now? In Victoria and near Lekki.
Yeah.
Or in some alternate years we'll do it at Sheraton Ikeja. The other one is if we don't find space. But although in the last 2 editions we've done it at the cinema hall of the Nigerian Film Corporation, which is like bringing it back home.
Yeah.
But the reason we started in the hotels was to give that sense of worth and dignity to short filmmakers and let them know that they are no less.
Yeah.
And so many talents have been discovered from there. From Judith Audu, Yinka Ogun's wife, the director.
And Tope Oshin.
Tope Oshin. So many, the actresses as well. So many people have had their breaks from In Short. For us, we felt, because we've always worked in the emerging filmmaker space, both by our film school, by short film festival and all that. And it's also my way of giving back as well. We've done quite a lot. And I forgot to mention through the film school, in recent times, we've started training people with disability. We've been supported by the U.S. Consulate and the Access Bank as well.
Yeah.
We've been able to we've trained quite a number of them. It started this last quarter, but it's something we intend to continue in the new year because a lot of there's not been inclusion in the industry, but that's something we want to bring on board, and it's something which we're doing as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So do you have social media or a website that people can keep up with the work you do?
Okay. We're revamping our websites right now, but the film school, I think, is it ivalagos.ng. We have reverted all of them now to .ng in shortfilmfestival.ng. All of them are coming up. There used to be .org and all that, but we brought them down so that we can revamp them and go to the .ng. I'm sure by the time hopefully when the podcast is out or something along the line, they will all be out again. Then that's in short, and what do you call it now?
The DGN and...
Yeah. Okay, for DGN.
And also the Broadcast Academy.
Yeah, the academy, that's ifbalagos.ng. IFBA Lagos. I don't know if we also registered ifba.ng. I think we did as well, just to protect it. Okay. Then we have, what do you call it? Yeah, dgn.org and dgn.org. We have registered those for the guild. We just moved to acquire a new office now in Surulere. I think that's 13 Simisola, where we want to have a production center as well. In that place, we're having a photography studio, a sound studio, a podcast studio. That should interest you.
Yeah.
A vlog studio as well. A music recording studio. Yeah, all of that in one place.
Yeah.
So that's something we're doing now. That's in Simisola and Surulere.
Okay.
It's starting in January.
Okay.
We want a place where creatives can just come and complete everything they want to do. There's an edit suite there as well.
Yeah.
So you can come, you can shoot, you can record your podcast if you want there. You can record a jingle there if you want, the music soundtrack. You can do your photo shoot there. You can edit there. It's a one-stop shop. And then when you want to relax, there's a lounge for video games as well. So you can just relax there. Then we have a classroom there as well for the film school. Okay. It's just an extension, but that place we only run master classes.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. So thank you, sir, for coming on the podcast, and all the best with the film school, DGN, and In Short Film Festival.
Thank you. And you're aware, I'm still running for president in 2023 again. I ran in 2019.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Okay.
Like Arnold Schwarzenegger said.
Yeah. Looking forward to what your plans for the country.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Okay. We have come to the end of this episode. Remember to rate and review the podcast. You can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Selegol Film, and the podcast at the Naija Film Pod to share your feedback. You can now support the podcast by visiting the website to donate. See you on the next episode. Have a good one.